Hi, I'm Mike Haduck, and this is episode 5 of my RV, and I'm still playing around with the mechanics, which I have fun with. But I'm going to talk a little bit about distributors. That's your ignition system. I'm going to show you what I did there, and I changed the starter on it. I ran an extra ground, which is real important if you own something like this. And then we went for a little 20-mile road trip where I seen some friends that are in from Florida up there in Pennsylvania. So this is it. I hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Well, it's a little hard to see, but I've been messing around with my distributor. Here is my module, which is right here. A piece of that. It's an extra one. I'm checking out my distributor cap. That's all. Looks like brand new. This looks like brand new, and I'm going to go down a junkyard and get an extra one just for the heck of it. Now here's how vain I am. I went down to the junkyard, or salvage yard if you want to call it, and got 2 extra distributors. Bolted them for $50 for 2 of them. I tested them, so I'm good. I'm not worried about modules or coils or anything now. I got a set of everything. I'm going to talk a little bit about distributors. This is an HEI distributor. That's the coil. What happens is when you turn the key, it comes into here, the wire, and it energizes this coil. And right in here, well, let's look at it this way. These are gears where it goes down into your engine, and right in here there's a little spot where your oil pump goes. So camshaft turns this, it turns your oil pump, and it turns this right here. Now in the old days, instead of modules, they would have a set of points. And I remember when they came out with this thing, that's where all the trouble was the modules. But it's like one set system, you put it in, you're done. Now if you fly an airplane, they have 2 distributors, somewhat similar to this, but they have magnetos where it's like your lawnmower engine. And when you get in the airplane, you turn it to the left, and your left distributor will go into your one set of spark plugs, and that engine will run. Then you go to your right, and it'll go to the other distributor, and a set of spark plugs, and that engine will run. And then you go to the boat, where they're both running and giving you power. The Federal Aviation Administration, as far as I know, would not allow computers like they have today on a car and an airplane because they fail. All the stuff anymore goes through the computer. That's what the problem is. Once your computer goes or a wire goes, you're always going to have a problem. Best thing you could do to a vehicle when you get it is run an extra ground from your battery to your engine block and into your chassis, because electricity goes from negative to positive. Everybody thinks it goes from positive to negative, but it doesn't. Ben Franklin was the guy who made that mistake. If you have a good engine ground, because this is only grounded on the engine block, and the positive goes to the coil. So you always have to have a good engine ground to run an engine properly. And if you always have electrical problems, that's the first place to look. Let me show you what I did with my engine. Now here's my engine. That's my negative battery, and it's inside here. But see this copper wire right here? Just a real thick house wire. And I run it right onto the engine block right here. And not only did I do that, but I also ran an extra wire onto my chassis. Grounding is the first thing that if you're going to have a trouble with electricity, that's the first place to go. Now, a modern day car, if you have trouble with your ignition system, which is spark, see how it turns and it goes into every spark into the cylinder. First thing, if you have a problem, you usually change your spark plugs first. Second thing, change your wires. Third thing on a modern car, you clean your mass airflow sensor. There's a lot of YouTube stuff on that. Next thing, your throttle plates. Go in and trim in right before the fuel goes into your engine, the throttle plates. There's like steps you go through before you go into computers. Make sure you got a good ground. This is old school. I just want to point those little things out. Now what I do is I mark all my distributor cables, so when I'm putting them back on or taking them off, I know where they go. Now today I'm putting a starter on my motorhome. first thing you do, anytime you work anything electronically, you disconnect the negative part of your battery. So down here in a Chevy 350 engine, got 2 bolts, one here and one here. And that's what holds your starter up. I already loosened them. I just want you to see where they're at. That bolt out. Got this one loosened up. And then I'm just gonna get the starter out. Try to get it down here. Now, I got the starter wires off and I'm looking inside where the starter bolts. That's the flywheel. And they look good. Those teeth look good, so that's a good sign. Now here's the old starter. Here's the new starter. I looked in there. The teeth are good. Exactly same dimensions. This is where all the positive goes. And this one right here is where your starter switch hits. So I'm going to run an extra starter switch. I'm going to show you that. That's it. It worked. Now if you remember that extra wire I ran to the starter, that's in case I ever wanted to start this car without the key. Bypass switch, watch. So that's just for emergencies, but I was down there anyway, so I put it on. Well, I'm taking it out today for a run, and I'm with my neighbor Susan. Say hi, Sue.
Hi, Mike.
And been my neighbor for like 45 years, right?
Yes.
So we're going for a ride to see a guy by the name of Chick. I went down the intercoastal with him on a boat, and we went from Virginia down through Lake Okeechobee and then up to Sarasota. And he has a house up here for the summer, so we're going to take a ride to see him. And you can, we're right following the river down here now, and that's what we're doing today. So we're giving this a good run, and it's really working out pretty nice. The hills of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, right? Yeah. There they are, my Florida friends.
Pennsylvania.
Hi,
Yeah.
nice to meet you, Chick.
Yeah.
Sue.
Yeah. They were going, well, we went and seen Chick, giving it a highway test for about 20 miles, and all my mechanics is working out little by little. So that's it. Well, that's it for part 5. I didn't want to go really deep into the electronics part of it, like putting a starter in or putting a distributor in, because there's a lot more better videos out there than what I showed you. I just showed you the basics and how I look at it. But as far as the ground goes, put an extra ground wire on. I think that's a great thing. Talk to your mechanic first, of course. But I make sure everything's ground, because most of the problems I see with electrical problems is there's a bad ground. That's the first thing to look for. I always do anyway. That's about it for 5. I'm just playing with this until I get closer to the winter where I could start driving around and having fun with it. So thanks for watching. That's it.